Other things planned I want to do and stuff. I got a place I go down and drink coffee every morning. I'm still going to do that. Can't quit everything.
Ryan guesses he's given more than 300,000 haircuts since getting out of barber school in Kansas City in 1960. The forecast is sponsored for you by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
An extreme heat warning in effect through 7 p.m. Wednesday. Sunshine and some clouds, very hot and humid this afternoon with a high of 97. AccuWeather real field temperatures over 110. Mainly clear, uncomfortably warm and sticky tonight, though just 79. I'm AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is cloudy in downtown St. Louis, 92 degrees. At 12:03, I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, we were going to start with some John Mozeliak audio from yesterday talking about the trade deadline. Then all heck broke loose. Tekoa Roby is going to have Tommy John surgery. Bryce Harper told the commissioner of baseball to get the blank out of the clubhouse. And Emmanuel Clase is being investigated for gambling.
Uh-oh.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gashouse Gang, where we talk baseball, and there is stuff breaking left and right with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. How are you, sir?
Doing great, man. Had a decent sports weekend. Would have liked to see a little better than a split, but fine. I'll take that. No big deal. Hall of Fame ceremony happened yesterday. And now we've got some crud going on today, Tom.
Oh boy. Okay. Where do we start? Let's start with the latest. Okay. And then we're going to get into all the Cardinal stuff. I see the comments already coming in. If you want to follow us, you can do that on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. Of course, we're live on KMOX, and we thank you all for contributing to this show that is growing leaps and bounds. We're here every day at noon, Monday through Friday. The manager of the Cardinals joins us tomorrow. But for right now, let's get into this. So let's start with the latest one, the one that just came out minutes ago, and that is that Emmanuel Clase, the closer for the Cleveland Guardians, is being investigated for sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
That is a massive story. The Guardians, this is from the Cleveland Guardians. This is their official statement. The Guardians have been notified by Major League Baseball that as part of their sports betting investigation, Emmanuel Clase has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave per an agreement with the Players Association. We have been informed that no additional players or club personnel are expected to be impacted. The Guardians are not permitted to comment further at this time and will respect the league's confidential investigative process as we intend to fully cooperate. So again, this isn't the Guardians putting him on leave. This is Major League Baseball telling the Guardians that Clase has been put on leave. The story that has come out is that he has been placed on paid leave through August 31st as part of the league's gambling investigation. They already have Luis Ortiz
back from June
under the same parameters at this time. This is the second Guardians pitcher on leave tied to this investigation. This is massive. You cannot gamble on baseball. You cannot, I'm not saying that he did. I'm saying this is called sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
But the investigation is underway. I already saw some social media saying that, well, he's off the table of the trade market. It is a lot bigger than that. He may, if it all goes down, he may never throw another pitch in his life.
Yeah, that's a problem potentially for him. And this is, I know what's going to happen is naturally people are going to, those who are opponents of the legalization of sports betting and the now prominence of it in the country are going to say, see, this is why you don't do it. And I understand that argument, and there's merit to the argument. However, it's just, the rules are very clear. You just can't do it. You can't do it. There are certain things that certain people, depending on their job, are allowed to do, and there are certain things that some people are not allowed to do. If you're like in the FBI or something. You can't be on social media. Everybody else in the world can. You can't. Okay? That's just the rule. And if you can't follow that, then you can't be in the FBI. If you can't not gamble, especially on baseball, you can't be a baseball player. This is very simple. And so I think if it turns out that he did gamble on the sport or what he did was really bad, then they have to make an example out of him. They just say, look, you're done. It's that simple. You are done. And this is more difficult. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is more difficult to get clipped for gambling than it is for PEDs, because I do think, or a banned substance, there are times where a guy without any sort of nefarious intent will take something, a supplement, think it's good. You know, he'll check with that. I think they got a website or something they can check and make sure that supplements are all right to use. Sometimes there's something in the supplement that doesn't show up in the ingredients. Then they get clipped for a PED suspension. That can happen with people who have no ill intent. Gambling on sports is very, very deliberate. You don't accidentally do it. So this doesn't have to happen. And I don't think this should change anything, which I know the conversation is going to go this way. I don't think it should change anything with the way the legalization of gambling, sports betting is going to continue to proliferate here.
I agree. And I think that you need to understand that this can affect outcomes of games, but bigger than that.
Yeah.
It affects the integrity of the sport and the trust that fans have in what they're watching.
That's 100% it, which is why I have always been against the idea of allowing Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And I know people say, well, this guy's in and that guy's in, and why not let him in? And he served his time. No, man, gambling on the sport that you play, whether you're betting for or against your team, or not placing bets on a particular night because you don't like the matchup, which the sharps know about. If you're doing something like that, if there's even a hint in any sport that there's impropriety, that the players aren't trying, or a guy is point shaving, or somebody lets a grounder go between their legs because they're on the take, that's, to me, Tom, that's about the only thing that can absolutely kill a sport, is if people watching don't believe the players are trying, or maybe some of them are trying to throw games. You cannot survive something like that.
Massive story number 2 that came out, and this one was from Jeff Passan, saying Philadelphia Phillies star Bryce Harper stood nose to nose with MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred during a meeting last week and told him to get the F out of our clubhouse if he wanted to talk about a salary cap, sources told ESPN. Going deeper into this story, it was basically a meeting that Manfred tends to do with teams. He'll go around and try to get to know the players, a private closed-door meeting with the Phillies. And Harper was sitting, this is the account that Passan wrote, Harper sitting in the corner basically with a bat in his hand, listening to the whole thing. And when it started to kind of go down the road towards a salary cap, although Passan says Manfred never used those words, specifically salary cap, Harper got up in the middle of the room, goes nose to nose with the commissioner, and says, if you're going to do that, get the F out of our clubhouse. And the commissioner had said something back like, I will not get the F out of our clubhouse, out of your clubhouse. And I am not going to get the blank out of here. And said it was important to talk about threats to MLB's business and ways to grow the game. This has me concerned that 2027 is going to be a problem, that if this is the way it is right now, we're going to miss some baseball. And I don't like that at all. But you know what? We've seen this happen before. We've seen lockouts. We've seen work stoppages. These players are not going to accept a salary cap.
But no, they're not. And I know you talked to Mike DeCourcy last week. Was it last Monday? You spoke to him. And his argument is this would actually be better for players. And I don't know if he's just in good with ownership around baseball or what, but his argument is not having a salary cap is actually making the pay discrepancy between the most expensive players and the lowest level players worse. And his argument was that there are lower level baseball players making less than the league minimum in the NHL. And I understand that argument, But I also understand from the players' perspective, and they have been long against the cap. And one of the reasons they're long against it is they just don't trust owners to be upfront about their revenues. And owners will not open books. And I understand why, if you're an ownership, a member of ownership of a team, you would not want to open your books, but they don't want to do that. And players say, well, if you're not going to be completely upfront about what you're making, why should we make that major concession? Because it is a huge concession to allow teams to cap them and how much money they can make.
I mean, why are we talking about a salary cap as much as we should be talking about a salary floor?
Well, you're not going to get one without the other.
Yeah, I know you're right. Let's share the revenue and get some of these teams to spend a certain amount of that revenue and bring it a little bit closer. You can't penalize the players necessarily.
Yeah.
They're out there doing their thing.
Well, and I know there are ownership groups in baseball that are upset with teams like Pittsburgh and Miami, and those teams that do get revenue sharing and don't really spend it on the product on the field like they're supposed to, like the intent is. And, if I'm one of those owners, I wouldn't like that either. So I don't think we're ever going to move that direction where we get both, unless baseball owners say, we will wait this out for 2 years. We'll wait it out for 3 years. We don't care. We're getting that cap. But I don't think they want to play that game. And honestly, I'm not sure either side really wants to have an extended lockout, because as we have talked about before, we may have had this conversation last week or the week before, with entertainment audiences so fragmented now, this would be a really dangerous time for a sport to move away from people's eyeballs for an extended period. You just don't, because you may not get people back because they can go find other things to do now pretty easily.
I mean, I was just telling you that yesterday I'm sitting there getting ready to do sports on a Sunday morning, and Sports Center is live at Commanders training camp.
Yeah.
What I know MLB Network runs the show up there in Cooperstown, but you're telling me that Sports Center is not going to have anchors or reporters live in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame for Ichiro and CC Sabathia and Billy Wagner, not to mention posthumously inducting Dave Parker and Dick Allen, and they're going to go Commanders training camp?
Tom, the Shield, the NFL is just king here. And I don't know when that goes away, but it supersedes almost everything in every city when it comes to sports. I know baseball's a little different here, that Cardinals talk is always going to be number one since we don't have a football team. And we were talking about this in the break, that when the Rams were winning Super Bowls and going to Super Bowls,
they were the show.
But
the Cardinals still, I think, got the most clicks even then.
But this is a very unique market. Nationally, though, it is not like that. You can do NFL talk you can do it in May. You could talk NFL in May and people are ready to go and listen to National Football League sports talk when nothing is going on, Yeah. So it absolutely is dominant. You do not want to be, if you're baseball and you've worked this hard to regain your fan base after the first lockout in the 90s and hold on to that fan base and try to grow the sport, which it has in revenue year over year, keeps going up, keeps making more and more money. If you want to continue that, I don't think you can afford to lose much momentum at all.
Well,
if there's going to be a lockout, it can't last for more than a couple of months.
If the 2027 season is in jeopardy, that means we won't see Tekoa Roby until 2028, because as first broken by Katie Wu, and this had been a while where we had heard a unspecified injury for Roby. That worried me. He's had some shoulder issues in the past. I know that, and I was just curious what it was going to be. Well, Wu uncovered it. Tommy John surgery for Tekoa Roby, one of the Cardinals' top pitching prospects, has that great over-the-top repeatable delivery that looked so good in spring training and for a portion of the minor league season. He is out for all of 2026. So the Cardinals have an issue on their hands because they lose another one of their pitchers, and now you start to wonder what the future is,
what the rotation looks like.
For the rotation. Not that he was going to be in the rotation, but could he have been a player maybe at the back half of 26? Could he have been a competitor for a spot? Maybe. Could he have provided some depth? Maybe. So the Cardinals have an issue on their hands there. All of that happened within the last hour of those stories coming out.
Sometimes nothing happens for days, and then sometimes you have this in 10 minutes.
Sometimes you get handed on a silver platter.
You know,
the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We also have, as mentioned, some audio from John Mozeliak. I visited with him yesterday. We talked about who they're trying to deal. We talked about who they are not trying to deal, but taking calls about, and how involved Chaim Bloom is at the trade deadline, which I think is everybody's question. Mo answered all of that, so we'll play some of that for you here on the show, the Gashouse Gang. Where else can you get all of that in a packed 1 hour show? We'll come back, take some of your comments, questions, more Cardinals news as they play today against the Marlins. We haven't even talked about Contreras, Machado, and the bench clearing incidents for 2 days. Maybe that's just too far in the rearview mirror. We got fresh news here.
And also, dude, we got tickets to give away for the game Wednesday.
Oh, my gosh.
Cardinals, Marlins, Wednesday, Busch Stadium. You got to be listening for your chance to win. You can win those today.
We will take a quick timeout, come back with more of the Gashouse Gang. These breaks are quick, so hang with us. Gashouse Gang sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. We'll be right back.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs. And then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away. So directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470. The Audiology Center, STL.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040. 800-408-4040.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise, but the one thing we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies, 314-991-9005, or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial, Inc., an FFC registered registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
Calling all soccer fans. The Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
KMOX is everywhere. 11:20 a.m. Streaming live on the Odyssey app and now at 104.1 FM.
Gashouse Gang on KMOX. We're giving away tickets.
Yeah. And you know what happens if you leave this station right now?
What happens?
Can't win.
Is it like being at an event where they pull the ticket and they're like, is he here?
Yep.
Oh, not here. Draw again.
A raffle? You're gone, dude. You got to be here to win.
Must be.
It's your fault, stupid. Shouldn't have left.
Be present to win. So hang tight. Cardinals tickets coming your way. Let's do some comments and kind of get into them here. There's a lot to sort through. You can go to YouTube. That's where most of them are coming from, it looks like. Facebook and X. Let me scroll all the way back to the beginning and see what we got. The first one out of the gate was STL Girl 74. Why are the Cardinals keeping Pajes behind the plate? We need a better catcher. Pajes isn't cutting it because he is their best defensive catcher, and that's why they have him. They feel comfortable having him call the games. He has a good arm. He fields his position well. He's not Yachty. Nobody will ever be. Joel Pozo's close. He does a nice job all around. He's a better contact hitter than Pajes is. But there are some names coming. Jimmy Crooks, Leonardo Bernal. In fact, the Cardinals have a lot of catchers. If they wanted to be buyers, if they wanted, back when they thought possibly they could be buyers, they could have dealt a catching prospect for a ready player. I don't know if that's going to happen this time around.
I do think that we probably need to continually remind ourselves that as a fan base, you cannot expect Yadier Molina because we had 20 years to judge everybody else up against him. You got to let that go because this is closer to the reality of most teams have defensively at catcher. Now, granted, he's not been one of the better catchers in baseball this year, just defensively speaking, in terms of the numbers, but it's not like it is entirely unusual, right? It's not like it's I don't think that we should be focusing or dwelling on it because it is by far not one of their biggest problems.
That is correct. Graham wants to know, should we be worried if we sweep Miami? No, nothing changes. The Cardinals are going to sell pitchers.
So he means worried in terms of what their plan is trade-wise? Right. No.
Yeah.
I think they already know what they want to do. It's just a matter of finding the right deal.
Yeah. As I kind of said tongue-in-cheek on Friday night after Michaelis won, I said the Cardinals are going to sweep this series, aren't they? And meaning they're going to mess up this whole thing.
Yeah.
But, you like to see players fighting and winning. Like I enjoyed the fire over the 4-game series from Contreras and from John Jay and from everybody getting in there and digging in and having each other's back. You want to see who's on the train, who's on the bus for next year. I want to know who's going to be part of 26 for next year. So I want to see them win games.
Of course.
It doesn't matter. If they continue to win, they are still building this team for 26. We all recognize that. This has been a season of evaluation. And you can use the word whatever you want, runway, rebuild, reset. I'll use restructure or rearrange because they need to figure out what this roster actually looks like. So, no, I'm not worried about it. And by the way, Samuel's right. I mean, the Marlins are hot. So if you are able to get them, good for you. And a few games for you if you're able to get 2 or all 3 of them. But the Cardinals just don't have the rotation to sit in there and take punches and go win series. I mean, their rotation, these guys aren't getting through 5. I mean, Matthew Liberatore, Michael McGreevy, who everybody was raving about, including me, got blown up yesterday.
Yeah, and I would not take much from that start. You need to see multiple starts like that before you go, oh, gosh, maybe this was a bad idea.
No.
Look, those starts are going to happen, in particular with young pitchers, and a lot of times it does happen with veterans too. But until you start to see a trend where as soon as they give him the job, every 5 days he's not very effective, then you can worry. But I don't think that you do that yet. And you know what? Even if he does struggle a couple of times, I think there's a ton of value in allowing him to struggle, just like they gave runway to players like Jordan Walker and so on at the beginning of the year. Let him struggle. Let him struggle and see what he does with it. Because that's part of the evaluation process of him.
A lot of comments about the gambling. In case you didn't hear the first segment, Emmanuel Clase, the closer for the Guardians, is being investigated for sports betting. This is the second Guardians pitcher to be investigated, so this is getting very serious. A lot of comments about Pete Rose, including, I think you and I are in agreement on this. I don't put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame either. It was clear as day.
Yeah.
Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. There are things that he accomplished and did all throughout there. If you did it, then you have to put it on his plaque and tell the story about what happened, that he gambled on baseball, everything that happened. It was banned, all of that. It's just, it's the first rule, I think, that you don't gamble on baseball.
I just don't think he should ever have been reinstated. I don't like the message it sends, because the message should have been clear and it should have been decisive forever that you do not bet on your sport. Especially if you're a manager, if you're on the field, if you're in that dugout wearing a uniform, you do not bet on this sport. And I know the argument has always been, well, he didn't bet on them to lose. He only bet on his own team to win. Yeah, but it was the times he didn't bet. And when I mentioned sharps earlier, we're talking about people who know sports betting and they know who's betting what. And word gets around, hey, Pete's got money on this game tonight. Oh, Pete's not betting this game. Well, that means he doesn't think they have a very good chance of winning. You just can't have that.
No, you can't. You can't have it. And Pete, was he a great player? Absolutely. He was awesome. I loved him. And he's everything you wanted a baseball player to be. He played hard. He got hits. He hustled and all those things. It doesn't
ruined a guy's career in an exhibition game.
No, there's that too. But he did it to himself.
Did you ever hear the thing about Charlie Hustle was not actually meant as a compliment? It was some of the old timers. I want to say like Mickey Mantle or something. Guys like that gave him that Charlie Hustle, like, oh, look at this hardo.
Yeah, right.
That it was an insult. But he ran with it. Give away those tickets, Tom.
Meanwhile, Ichiro had more hits than Rose did.
Oh, we have Hall of Fame thoughts too later.
That's coming. By the way, let's give away some tickets. And let's do caller number
six. I don't know why, but six.
Stan
Six for
Musial,
Stan. There
that's
you go.
why. 314-955-1120 gets 4 tickets to Wednesday's game against the Marlins at Busch Stadium. 314-955-1120. The Gashouse Gang rolls on right after this.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey in studio with Gloria Liu, broker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and St. Louis's real estate expert. Gloria, while most agents make big promises, you're known for your upfront written guarantees.
My name is My Promise. Well, many agents promise you an unrealistic sales price just to get your business. I'll provide you with an upfront written guarantee stating if I cannot sell your home for 100% market value, I'll pay you the difference.
Gloria, that's what sets you apart from others and why I recommend you. Folks, why risk working with just any agent when you can work with the best? Gloria Liu guarantees your sale price upfront and in writing.
Absolutely. And if I don't, I will pay you the difference. The agent you choose in this changing market matters and could cost you or make you thousands.
Sell your home with certainty, confidence, and for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Call 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
It is 93 degrees in St. Louis, partly cloudy. The real feel is 107 right now, and that extreme heat warning can't make up its mind. It's been extended to Wednesday at 7 o'clock now. It's supposed to be done tomorrow. Weather is brought to you by Siding Express and SidingExpress.com. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding at Siding Express. We specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit SidingExpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sightingexpress.com.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-355-8282. That's 800-355-8282. Again, that's 800-355-8282.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Here's Burleson driving one to center field. That's hit deep to the wall. It's a goner. Up on Freeze's landing. Up on the grass of the batter's eye. Burleson with his 13th home run of the year.
I love it. John Rooney with the call right there. Always enjoy our visits with the voice of the Cardinals, and he joins us live at 12:35. Hello, John.
Hello, Tom. How are you, Chris?
Turn your
What is
mic
going on
on.
with this microphone?
Turn
Okay,
your
here we
mic
go.
on.
I can't do anything right.
It does work better if you turn it on, Chris.
Seems to. You must have been hitting his cough button.
What's
or
this
something.
button do?
I don't
Okay.
know. That's a question I get a lot. What does this cough button mean? Well,
When you press it, you hear a cough.
It makes you cough.
Yeah.
That's right.
John, what a weekend it was. It started out with 2 Cardinals victories, but also a little spice mixed in there on Friday and Saturday. And then Michael McGreevy got knocked around yesterday. It was hot yesterday. I actually sat out in the seats yesterday and just wanted to take it in as a fan. That was short-lived. No, I was out there for a good 4 innings or so. But, John, the Cardinals split with the Padres, 2 teams that are fairly close in the standings, but San Diego able to get the better of them in the last 2. Just your overview of the 4-game series.
Well, some strange games with the Cardinals getting a hit by pitch and 2 walks and scoring 3 runs and winning 3-0 on Friday. And they were out hit by a considerable margin in that game. And then the Cardinals just couldn't put any hits together or base runners together and keep pressure on San Diego on Saturday. And then things got away from McGreevy yesterday. But you look at that lineup and you know it's going to break out sometime. And that's what they did over the last couple of games. In fact, they hit fairly well the entire series, but they just didn't score enough as the Cardinals won the slugfest game 1 and then a 3-0 game 2. And then San Diego won a tight one, and then won one going away.
Yeah, you mentioned McGreevy and saying that the start got away from him, which it did. Just what did you see there? What do you think led to that?
Well, he had too many pitches out over the plate. That was the problem. He made some mistakes and wasn't as sharp and effective as we had seen him before. And you make some mistakes to those guys, they're going to get hit. I think it was that simple.
He should have drilled Machado with first base open.
Here we go.
I'm just kidding.
Here we go.
I'm kidding. But actually, it was interesting, wasn't it, seeing the two go back and forth? And the Cardinals, Contreras, I really respect. And by the way, you could tell Machado respects him as well, as the two kind of walked arm in arm to first base after that fracas, John.
Oh, I think so. And Wilson, he tends to lean over the plate, and he gets hit with a lot of pitches when they come up and in on him. And I heard his comment about that. You played that yesterday, Tom, and I've heard him talk about it before. That he's one of those. He's going to try to drive the ball and try to get a pitch to his liking, but they're going to try to keep him off the plate, and that's why he's been hit so many times over the years. He got hit a lot of times with the Cubs when the Cardinals faced him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really into beanball wars, and I don't like, you hit our guy, so I'm going to come after your guy. Well, I'm going to retaliate again. And I don't think it's fun when baseball turns into that. Do you find anything entertaining, just as an observer, when there are these scuffles on the field? Do you think that adds to the game?
I don't know. They happen when guys get hit by a number of pitches, and you have to protect your players. And we don't see it a lot anymore because they have taken things, the umpires have taken things in hand, and they've issued warnings and said, you keep this going, we're going to deal with it. And I thought the umpires did a great job of keeping the players in the game in that third game of the series. So I thought they handled things very well, where another umpiring crew may have started tossing people. And you want to see the best players in the game.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see these two teams go at it again this weekend in San Diego. In the meantime, John, the Miami Marlins are in town, and they've played very well, haven't they?
They have. And I'm kind of interested to see the Marlins, because it's a different group from what we called in spring training, as they were trying to put some things together, a brand new manager and trying to find their way. Well, I guess they found it recently. They're very competitive, and so it's going to be an interesting series.
So, John, this is trade deadline week. Not going to ask you to make any predictions on what you think will happen, but just curious about the clubhouse and how this team, and all teams go through it because there's uncertainty that happens this week. How is this one handling the uncertainty of a trade deadline week?
Well, I think they're handling it the same way they do every year, and I'm sure there's some players that are a little more anxious than others, and I still believe, and from what I see out of teams and have for a number of years, that when it's game time, they go play the games. After that, then they may center on all the possibilities of being traded or dealt or going somewhere. But everybody's going through this on a number of teams right now. And there are teams trying to decide what they're going to do. Are they going to try to better themselves? Are they going to try to better themselves for the future, or do it right now? So hard to tell. Let's just wait and see.
And John, finally, 24 hours ago, they gathered in Cooperstown, New York, to honor the greats. In fact, the day before that, Tom Boswell and Tom Hamilton were honored as writer and broadcaster. But yesterday, Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, and posthumously Dave Parker and Dick Allen. What stands out to you about the 2025 class?
That's a great class. That's a great class, Tom. My goodness. And having seen Dave Parker play and having watched those greats over the years, and Ichiro, I'm convinced he could hit the ball anywhere, anytime, any place. And I remember watching him in spring training, and it was one of the first 3 or 4 games when he joined the Seattle Mariners, and standing by the cage with Lou Piniella, and he said, so far he's hit everything to left field, just the loopers to left, a couple of line drives. He asked the interpreter, ask him when he's going to hit the ball to right. And he answered, well, I'll hit when the season starts. And Lou Piniella said,
that's right.
How about a preview today? and he had a couple of hits to right field the first two times up. And Dave Niehaus was in an elevator with Dave Niehaus, their great Hall of Fame honored broadcaster, and he was telling the fans that yes, he gets his bats from some forest. And I said, which one? The Enchanted? Because that's the way he hit. He was amazing.
I love that. There were the stories about him in batting practice that it was like if he wanted to, it was home run.
Yep.
Just he could hit.
He had power. Yep. He had power. Had very strong, quick wrists, and he could hit the ball all over the field. He was amazing. And then CC Sabathia, you could tell in the first inning or two whether you even had a chance to get a hit, let alone a run. He was that good.
Wow. John, always a pleasure. Great to visit with you. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Okay, guys, sound good. Let's get a couple of wins here.
It'd be great. John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, with us on KMOX. Always a treat to hear his voice. We're going to take a break. Matt, do we have a winner on tickets?
Oh, yeah. It's Neil from Steelville, Illinois.
Okay. Steelville, Illinois.
I don't know what that is.
Not Steelville, Missouri?
It says Steelville, Illinois.
Okay. All right. And
it's Neil.
All right, Neil. Congrats
Neil.
on the ticks. When we come back, we will hear John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. Some of the things he said to me about the trade deadline. We're 3 days away. Mo, on the pitching that he's being asked about, position player possibilities being traded, and Chaim Bloom's role at the deadline. Back after this.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
The KMOX City FC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Lindbergh Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood-Wright. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Lindbergh, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 5 till 7 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert, and that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called GetScreenedNow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. GetScreenedNow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. Third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And GetScreenedNow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. GetScreenedNow.com.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house, on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We were just talking about the heat of the game yesterday. Man, it was hot. Whew.
Gross.
I sat in the seats. God bless that young couple that had kids age probably 5, 3, and 1, and how they managed that was pretty impressive. There are some super moms and dads out there.
What about those kids, man?
They
those
had hats
kids
on.
going through it.
They had hats and sunscreen on. And you know what? I got to feel what fans feel down in that lower level in the heat. That is no joke. I mean, that you got to be ready to go. You got to be hydrated, sunscreened, and willing to roast.
You went. Listen, you are of the people, and so you said, "Let's see what the commoners are dealing with today."
It was
that's what
not
you
what
did.
I said. I just wanted to take in a game and eat some peanuts and drink a beer, and that's what I did. Let's do this. Let's hear. Before that, I visited with John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, and the trade deadline is 3 days away. And I thought his answers were pretty good here and just sort of a framework of what the Cardinals are trying to do. Let's begin with their philosophy at the deadline this time around. How much does this affect the deadline when they start to win, when they drop back? Has it been a fluid situation for you?
That's one way of putting it. Obviously it's delicate. We're still trying to find a way to remain competitive, to try to get ourselves into October, to take the roll of the dice and see where it ends. But in the meantime, you're on the calendar, you're on the clock. And what that means is if we don't make any decisions with our roster prior to the 5 o'clock Central on July 31st, then there's nothing left we can do. And, obviously we're in a unique situation. We have some talented arms that people are interested in. And I think we owe it to the organization, we owe it to our fan base to at least listen, explore, and see what that might look like. And, those are never fun things to do. You'd like to be on the other end where you're looking to add, but maybe there might be some version of addition by subtraction as we go through this.
So I asked him about pitching, or would this also be position players? Has it been mostly arms? I mean, I never ask about players, as people know. You and I we don't talk about that. It's been the policy, but is it mostly pitching? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, most people going into the trading deadline are focused on arms. And the reason being is because you're trying to make that final push in the last 2 months to play for a third month. And so that's usually where you start to see teams, players hit fatigue moments, and it's just good to replenish. And, my time of being on the buyer side, you're always looking for pitching. That's just the name of the game. Now, when you look at our everyday club, as far as position players, we don't have anybody really on expiring contracts. So there's no real push to try to move one of our position players. It's not to say people aren't calling about them, but I think trading deadline trades for players that have controllable years is much more difficult than the expiring contract model. But like we have 5 days left. We met this morning with my team and we, talked through some things, and we just want to remind ourselves we got a lot of time left in this because, as you know, trading deadline usually comes down to that final hour with lots of things going on. But, if we're able to accomplish something before that, we're not going to let the clock dictate that we wouldn't.
So reminder, he did not shut it down. He's leaving it open that some position players could be dealt. He goes a little further here when asked about J.J. Weatherholt's impact. There was a question on Twitter about J.J. Weatherholt, about his ability, and if J.J. is forcing your hand at all at the deadline. Would that entice you to trade a lefty back because you have J.J. coming? I'd say this, J.J.'s been unreal. I mean, it has been fun to watch him.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what you'd hope he'd be doing. He's swinging the bat well, having a very productive transition to AAA, which is exciting to see. And in terms of how that affects the deadline, again, I think position players that have years of control, these are sometimes much easier to address in the off season than during the trading deadline. But look, as I said earlier, there's 5 days left. If somebody wants to make us rethink something, then we've certainly have the ability and be able to be nimble enough to make that if we have to.
So again, everything's on the table. Now, how does he see this working with himself and with Chaim Bloom, who is going to take over? Here's that question. Can you describe the collaboration with Chaim when it comes to this? Yeah,
I would just say he's part of the team. The way we have it set up is everybody has a voice in what we do, and he's one of those voices. And there are some things where if it was dramatically a very black and white issue that's going to affect the future, obviously I would loop him in to a different level than just the voice. But at this point, the collaboration of the group is pretty equally divided, and it's my responsibility just to manage it.
All right, so that's John Mozeliak there. There's been a lot of reporting about Bloom's role, but there is Mozeliak saying it firsthand, the collaboration.
Yeah, I think we're going to see at least one more before Thursday, potentially two. I don't think it ends with Eric Fedde, which, I suppose it's a bonus that they got much out of that deal because he wasn't very effective at all this year. So even if it's just money they get in return, great. Or if it ends up being the player to be named later, whichever direction they go, they got something in return for him. This is it kind of stinks that this is where they are, that the great likelihood is they subtract from the roster and probably from the bullpen because of the way things started. I know this happens. Teams get off to good starts. Things fall apart. It happens. It just stinks when you think back to April, May, and where the team was and the feeling that, hey, maybe they could actually do something here. Maybe this could be a playoff team. And you know what? I suppose it is still possible they make these deals and maybe they're still interesting in September. But I would be stunned if nothing else happens between now and Thursday.
It would take a magical turnaround by the starting rotation, which just does not have it right now. I mean, they just don't, not even Sonny Gray. Now there have been reports that the Cardinals, and Derek Gould was the one I thought at the front of this, who has reported that there has been a conversation between Gray and Mozeliak about his willingness to waive his no trade, but it's really ended there. There's no other information except that they've had a conversation. I think he's had the same with Nolan Arenado. So let's keep our eye on this thing. There could be some movement here that you're not anticipating, but I take him at his word that this is about pitching. They are listening to offers for pitching. I think Ryan Helsley is going to be dealt, and I think that it's possible Maton is dealt. Matz, maybe Romero, who has an extra year on his deal. And outside of that, it's wide open. I think that any of the younger players that maybe they aren't sure about for the future, they're going to wait to see this entire body of work. And then in the offseason, that's when that shuffle begins. And I'm talking about Gorman, Walker, Burleson, who stays, who goes where, and where does Weatherholt, Sajaci, players like that factor into all of this moving forward?
And Tom, regarding the trade deadline, I know there are multiple reasons why a player wants to be somewhere or doesn't want to be somewhere where they might want to move on. It isn't just about money or competitiveness, but I don't know why, if you're Arenado or Gray, why you would not want to take the opportunity to go to a team that's got a chance this year. You know, a real chance with 2 months left to go. I don't know why you wouldn't.
It's the fastest show in baseball. FSIB.
This one?
Gashouse Gang. Yeah. We'll see you later.
The Gashouse Gang?